flat out, tire smoking, door handle to door handle battle among the world's fastest sports cars. And if you want to win, you got to use the motor, the brakes, the steering, and the suspension to their max. You may even have to do a little off-roading. Whatever it takes, and sometimes even that's not enough.
From Mosport Park, Canada, it's round 8 of the Motorola Cup presented by NewTek Group International. And it's brought to you by Motorola, web without wires. By Daringer, complete international logistics solutions. And by Castrol, track proven performance. Hi, I'm Jim Martin, along with Terry Earwood, the chief instructor for the Skip Barber Racing School, and welcome to Mosport Park for the Motorola Cup presented by NewTek, the ultimate challenge for street stock automobiles. Terry, this Mosport circuit is one of the most challenging in North America.
Jim, I'm not sure challenging is the right word. Downright scary might be a better way of putting it. We're going to go on board with John Heinrich in the Corvette in the left, and in your picture on the right, we're inside the Porsche with Richard Spinard. Now watch the steering. We're going to go around this racetrack. I want you to watch the steering inputs. The Corvette left, the Porsche right. This is a long downhill corner. Notice how many times we have to correct this Porsche or fix it. The Corvette, John turns in one time. Nice right-hander, back to third gear, both cars. Corvette turns in once, Porsche turns in, turns out, turns in, turns out. He's going to wear the steering box out before this lap's over. Now here comes a scary part of the racetrack. It starts to go downhill. It's left-handed. It's off camber. This is flat out for a moment in fourth gear. You brake hard. Stick it back in third. Halfway around the corner, back into second. This is our hairpin turn, the Moss Corner hairpin, and this begins a huge, long straightaway. Notice the Corvette gets a bit of a hole shot here. We pick up about a half a second. John's up to third. John's up to fourth. Also is the Porsche. Now, notice John reaches over and tugs up his seatbelts. On long straightaways, we always do that. You bounce around a lot in the cars. You got to tighten yourself back up. Up to fifth gear, flat out. We're going uphill. There's a lot of drafting takes place here. We got to go back to fourth gear to turn right for this corner, or if you get it wrong, that's a big hit in that pea gravel off on the left. Nursing the throttle through here. We're going to go back to third gear to turn left as we get ready for the front straightaway. We're going to brake hard, slide it back into second. This is a great place to crash right before the fans.
And now let's take a look at our Speed Stick fastest qualifiers. In Super Grand Sport, we've got John Heinrich and Paulo Delchin in the 37 Corvette, Jean-François Dumoulin and Richard Spinard in the Porsche, and they're followed by Mike Culver and Mike Fitzgerald in the 22 Corvette.
In Grand Sports, it's Mike Weinberg, Stu Hayner, and John Urose on the Firebird on the pole. David Brown, John Kohler are second in the Mustang. Jason Potter, John Shirk are third in the Acura NSX.
In Sport Touring, Mike Van Sicklen and Bob Endicott in their Acura Integra Type R. Goldsboro and Fairbanks in the Lexus GS 400. Terry Borchler may make an appearance here. And third place, we've got Liebengood and Lally in their BMW.
In C2K, Jocelyn Hebert, Mark Craig, and Didier Schranen are on the pole in the Hyundai. Pete Halsmer, Brian Johnson are second. Cord Cullen and Didier Schranen are third in another Hyundai.
We'll be right back with a start from Mosport, so stick around.
Never once did your car ask you for jewelry or flowers. Never once did it ask you if it looked fat, or did it get mad at you for leaving the seat up. Your car always gives you exactly what you want. Doesn't it deserve something special in return?
Driver.
You need a driver? 10th hole, please. the usual, gentlemen?
Well, perhaps for Emmett, but I'll be having tea. Well, I'm the designated driver.
Not so quick, friend. I'll be having the tea, as I'm to be the driver.
Deny yourself if you like, but I'll be a driving.
Boxster. What only a Porsche brings to driving.
Welcome back to the Motorola Cup, presented by New Tech International from Mosport Park, where the cars are on their pace lap and headed for the start.
One of the favorites in this race, Devin Powell, crashed his Corvette in qualifying, and the car was a total write-off. Fortunately, Devin is okay. Now he and his co-driver Doug Goad have moved to the other Powell Motorsports entry, the yellow number 30 Corvette, which they'll share with Craig Conway. They're starting back in 5th.
Now here he come up for the green flag. Heinrichs in the Corvette, Dumoulin the Porsche side by side down the front straightaway as the field exits turn number 10, looking to the inside. Here comes Conway in that yellow Corvette.
Heinrichs takes the point on the inside. It's 3 or 4 cars. Actually, the Porsche on the outside, John, we're riding with John now. This is a right-hand turn. We're up to 4th gear. We're about to crest this hill. John's going to try to pass him on the outside. Now we're inside the Porsche. There goes John taking the point. And this hard left-hander. Notice the Corvette sliding out wide. You got to tug it back over for the braking zone as the whole pack comes into view.
Heinrichs, Dumoulin, Culver, Conway, and David Amick in the Viper runs in 5th now. Off the back straightaway for the first time, the field begins to spread out just a little bit. The Corvettes run side by side, the 22 and 30 cars. Craig Conway looking to the outside, coming to the crest of the hill, looking for a 3rd spot and makes the pass.
Corvette, Porsche, Corvette, Corvette, Viper. We talked about 3rd gear here, back to 2nd, come back onto the front straightaway. We're on board now with John Heinrichs again. He slides it back into 2nd gear as he comes around to lead the first lap in this 3-hour endurance race.
Now coming down the start-finish line, Heinrichs pulled out a bit of a gap over Dumoulin's Porsche, the 2 Corvettes, and then the Viper.
We're on board with the Porsche now as he looks up to see John leading it. Pretty good gap here, but he's got cars all over his mirrors. Here comes a Corvette on the inside.
Craig Conway's in some kind of a rush today to get to the front. He's got to get his Corvette past the Porsche first.
Yeah, that Porsche, more miles here than any other car in the field. Conway takes a look on the inside. There he goes. Nice move for Craig.
Craig Conway is definitely inspired. Now runs in 2nd spot with a Porsche hot on his heels.
And he's got a Corvette in the rearview mirror, too, because he's got to worry about 2 Corvettes here as we come down that long sweeper, flat-out corner. Back to 3rd gear to turn in. Once again, you'll see a slide back into 2nd for the hairpin, and this begins that huge straightaway. We can't even see Heinrichs in the distance. He has run away.
Most definitely has. However, the battle for 2nd isn't done yet. Jean-François Dumoulin gets up inside the Corvette, and let's see which one has more horsepower coming up the straightaway.
Yeah, the Porsche got the power down better. I was actually surprised coming out of that corner. The Corvette should have had a hole shot.
And it looks as though we've got a car off the circuit, the number 8 Hyundai Tiburon, without a back bumper, or without a piece of it anyway. However, he was the C2K class leader, and it looks as though he's done his race no good here.
Yeah, we got a replay here coming out on the, remember, this is outside downhill. The marbles are out there. Sure enough, he gets caught out in what we call the marbles. Car just slides wide. Now, being front drive, he just keeps his foot in it. As long as you stare where you want to go, it should go there. He's just bouncing along, and actually the dirt tears that bumper off. Big, huge ride. Yeehaw, watch this. As we say down south, nice catch.
Hey, a great piece of driving. The car's back on the racetrack. That's what it's all about as we ride along with Jean-François Dumoulin as he tries to find his way to the front of this field. This is the 2nd place car trying to find his way through traffic.
Yeah, we're already in lap traffic right now. Moss Corner. You can't pass there, John. Oh, baby.
Oh, I'm not sure whether he said sorry about that or we'll see you later.
Now, what you saw, he's working lap traffic. He gets inside the little Acura. Acura doesn't know he's there. Not going to share that piece of racetrack. And the Porsche gets angered at knocking the Acura out of the way.
Didn't seem to speed up his lap time, and he will ride along one more time and see how this one developed.
Yeah, the Acura has a battle of his own. Porsche's on the inside, I think it's his corner. The Honda comes across him. There we go. Front drive car. Oh, big hook slide. Goes off to the left. Porsche raises his hand as if it's the Acura's fault.
Now we'll look at the top side of the circuit. The 3rd place, Craig Conway, goes by. Behind him, Mike Culver's Corvette and Dave Amick's Viper, putting one of the Grand Sport Mustangs a lap down as the battle continues into turn number 1 with the Viper driving to the inside. Dave Amick looks as though he's going to steal away 3rd spot.
So now it's Corvette, Porsche, Corvette, and Viper for our top 4. Viper with the horsepower. Corvette, a little bit better brakes. Speaking of Corvette, we're on board with John, who's leading this in his Corvette. Working slower traffic. Well, you've got to pick your way through here. They have a race of their own. They don't know you're there sometimes. Nice move on the car. John back on the front straightaway. Up to 4th gear. This is a right-hand downhill corner. You can't appreciate that from inside the car.
As we've got a car smoking out in the race course, that's the 3rd place Craig Conway Chevy Corvette. Boy, it's been a hard weekend for the Powell team, no doubt about it. The 30 car is the last of the remaining Powell Corvettes. There used to be 2 this weekend. Yeah, they lost the car in qualifying, unfortunately, and now his car has gone up literally in smoke. Oh, and a car in the dust, too, the 42 car, which is the Heffron and Starita Acura, which has fallen off the bottom of quarter 2. Yeah, let's see if we have a replay. He's already off down there where we saw the Hyundai go off earlier. You get out in the marbles. Now he's corrected to the right, but lifted off the gas at the wrong time, and that snaps the car around. It's easy to go into the tire wall here. Fortunately, it's pretty far away from the track, and he misses the tire wall, but it's going to be a long cleanup inside this car. The 30 Chevy Corvette, Craig Conway, has made it into pit lane, and it looks as though their day might be over. Boy, the Powell team, this is their home track, and it sure hasn't been a great weekend for them. All right, we have a surface flag out for debris on the track. Due to the oil from that number 30 Chevy Corvette, which has just stopped in along pit lane as we catch up with John Heinrichs, our race leader, as he comes to the crest of the hill. We'll be right back with more action from the Motorola Cup here at Mosport.
In auto racing, teamwork is the key to a winning strategy. Deringer's Logistics Solutions team is there to provide the same level of commitment to your international shipping needs. Global freight forwarding experts assure rapid transportation of your merchandise. Our customs brokerage service gets your goods through quickly and efficiently. And warehousing distribution experts see to a trouble-free delivery of your products. Deringer is committed to making you a successful and winning partner. For more information, call 1-800-448-8108.
Gone in 60 seconds. Bring home the non-stop action, starring Nicolas Cage. Yes! And only on DVD. See behind-the-scenes footage you won't find anywhere else. Gone in 60 seconds. Now on video and DVD. Rated PG-13.
Before you can get where you're going, you have to know where you've been. Speedvision takes you on a ride through the ups and downs of the 2000 racing season. It's everything you need to know and everything you need to see from our remarkable year of wheel spinning, heart-pounding, flag-grabbing action. So catch the 2000 season on Speedvision before this Y2K passes you by. Monday night, watch all the bumper-to-bumper action with GT and Touring's Year in Racing. Coverage begins at 9 Eastern, 10 Pacific.
Welcome back to the Motorola Cup here at Mosport as we ride with race leader John Heinrichs in the 37 Aquilati Corvette.
Yeah, but John's lost his cushion. Right behind, we have the Porsche. That's Dumoulin driving the car right now. He's in the draft. He's caught the vet.
Traffic's going to become a bit of a marker here. The number 12 Coletti and Linder Acura is going to be the next one to go lap him.
Yeah, the Acura moves over, sees John coming. He lets the Porsche in so he doesn't interfere with the leaders. We're back on board with the Porsche. Now watch the movement of the steering wheel. This car, these guys drive this car a lot.
They have to work hard, but from the look of things, it might just be faster than the Chevy Corvette in front.
Yeah, John's a little bit wide here. We're inside the Porsche following the Corvette. Now notice when John goes to shift, he leaves his hand down there. With the power steering of this Corvette, he drives one-handed most of the time. Remember inside that Porsche, we saw both hands fighting that wheel.
Now would the chief instructor give him a little note at the end of the day for that?
Yeah, we like to have both hands on the wheel in case something goes wrong. You got a better feel for all four corners of the car. With the Porsche, those guys show us we have to drive with both hands because you're always correcting it. Porsche pops out. There he goes, Jim.
There we go. Jean-Francois Dumoulin, the Porsche, gets up beside the 37 race-leading Corvette, and we've got a battle for the lead coming up the straightaway. The Porsche looks as though he's got it. Looks like he has a lot more horsepower here. I'm pretty amazed that Porsche can out-drag that Corvette up that hill. Youngster Jean-Francois Dumoulin, the young French-Canadian, he's only 24, an ex-Formula Ford racer, seems to have gotten the handle on this Porsche.
Yeah, he does a nice job. Of course, he has a good coach with his co-driver in this Porsche here at this track. On board now with our Dumoulin Bernard Porsche once again, as he's going to lead for the first time. Our Lexus, which way is he going to go, pops out to the right. Thank you very much. The slower car should always stay on line. That way you're predictable.
That's a theory. Sometimes they haven't read that piece of the rule book and make things interesting. A car into the wire. The number 12 Acura stop. That's a Linder Coletti car.
It's here on the front straightaway. He pulled out in front of traffic across. Let's see if we can get a replay.
Boy, that's a pretty nervy way to get back on the racetrack.
Yeah, it looks like he gets touched a little bit from behind. Well, no, a whole lot from behind the second time. That turns him slap around. He locks up the brakes at the last moment. He's going to take some of the banners off this wall, and thank goodness it's just banners and not wall.
The impact-absorbing banners do a real good job. The car comes to a stop, and now he's got to figure out how to turn it around.
I think he's going to do it without any adult supervision. He just turns around.
Yeah, pretty much. He pulls up in front of people and obviously doesn't make any contact, and it's a good thing.
Back on board with our leader is the Porsche. Working slower traffic. The Honda, however, can actually corner faster here. So notice he does not fight him for this corner. This Honda can run flat out through this corner. Porsche has to lift. We see a car in trouble right in front of us. Which way are we going to go? Mustang turns it around. You have to make some split-second decisions when you drive the race car.
And that one seemed to work out. The waving yellow flag means the number 74 Mustang has come to a stop at the bottom of 2. Let's see how it happened.
On the replay, again, we're out in the marbles. We talk about that. The Mustang corrects himself, comes back, and now it's a tank slapper. He gets it sliding back and forth, but he keeps his foot in it. If he let go of some of that 700 horsepower, maybe it's 400, we wouldn't have turned the car around quite that many times right in front of the leaders.
Jean-Francois Dumoulin, again, misses some action in front of him. Another good battle going on here in C2K. Pete Halsmer's 69 Honda side by side with the number 8 Hyundai of Gord Cullen. The Hyundai takes over the lead as well. Hey, that bumper hasn't improved itself any, but it doesn't seem to be slowing the car down now.
Pete Halsmer, seasoned veteran. He's driven about every kind of race car in the world, hanging right there in second place. This has been a Hyundai-Honda battle all year long for the C2K championship. And now here comes Halsmer back on the attack.
Pete Halsmer with the experience. Gord Cullen has been around the racetrack here at Mosport on several occasions. This is his home track. Car off the race circuit now. The 90 Lexus. That's a Budding and Pacelli car. Back on the racetrack again.
Yeah, that's our automatic transmission race car out here. The other Lexus team car is actually leading sport touring. As we ride along with Terry Borcheller, Terry, a lot of times in a Mustang, notice there's no shifting here. He just sort of puts it in R for race, and he's out of there. Look at his eyes, very concentrated. Here's the car off.
Car off the race circuit, Mike Weinberg's 32 Firebird, and it looks as though this is going to bring out our full course caution the first time of the day.
Yeah, Pete Gravel does a wonderful job of keeping you out of the wall. Let's see the replay. Mike just loose. He's right behind another car. He's on full throttle trying to keep it from turning over. Now he's on the brakes to keep it out of the wall. Unfortunately, the spin ends right in the Pete Gravel. We look up and see cars trying to dodge all this. The blue car with a sympathy spin gets out in the marbles, locks it up right in front of traffic. Hey, and backs off the track instantly. Boy, that's a quick move.
Get a view along with Howie Liebengut in the BMW.
Yeah, he's flying blind through the dust here. He's on instruments, has no idea the car's not there. Thank goodness it's not.
And this full course caution means that it's time for pit stops. A lot of the cars coming in, including the race leader, Jean-Francois Dumoulin, the youngster, will turn over the car to the experienced Richard Spenard. That's a nice way to put it, I think. The second place Corvette's going to roll in along pit lane 2.
Yeah, these cars need tires and gas at this point and a driver change. This is going to be a real quick stop for the Porsche. He's ready to go out already. He'll go back out in the lead. In endurance racing, pit stops are so critical. The hood's up on the Corvette.
Not a good sign at all. As the 43, the Nonamaker and Pate Chevy Corvette stops in along pit lane. Bill Pate will take over for Joe Nonamaker here.
Got a problem.
Yeah, a little bit of a problem.
Oh, whoops. Huge crash right here in pit lane. They couldn't get the driver's door slammed.
Looks like he's all right, though.
Hey,
that's amazing.
Driver changes are tough.
The 37 Chevy Corvette is still in along pit lane. Maybe a refueling problem? Well, that's going to put him at least a lap down.
Yeah, the hood was up for a long time in this car. Not sure what the problem was. We get a replay here of the Nonamaker Corvette. Bill Pate's being buckled in the car. That's Joe Nonamaker outside.
trying to get the door done up, and it doesn't quite latch. So Joe goes back to work. The car begins to roll, gets the door shut, and then, well, tries to get it shut and then does a handstand.
Yeah, Pate goes to the brakes to stop the car. Joe didn't anticipate that. Nice somersault.
Trying out for the gymnastics team, but eventually the door got shut and the 43 Corvette is back underway. The 37 car's got some kind of a serious problem here refueling.
Jim, he's back in the pits. He's gone out and come back in. They must have trouble putting gas in that car. You know, these are not electric pumps like in a service station. This is gravity feed. That's why that first pit stop took so long. Now they're having to move the Firebird.
Boy, even gravity doesn't want to play along with them this weekend. We'll be back with more action from Mosport in a moment.
Now set your clock for Midnight Rock. 30 passionate power ballads from TV music for you. Midnight Rock on 2 cassettes or 2 CDs. And remember, use your credit card and get a third album free. Call toll-free to order Midnight Rock. 2 cassettes, $21.99, 2 CDs, $26.99 plus $5.50 shipping. Have your credit card ready and call now.
Give me my phone. I want to check my email.
No.
Give it to me.
No.
Give me my phone.
No. No.
AJ Kidd here. Boy, have I got a great ski tip for you. Check out OLN's FIS World Cup competition Thursday nights and Saturdays and Sundays for your chance to win a great ski vacation. Look for OLN's Ticket to Adventure on OLNandaway.com.
Welcome back to the Motorola Cup presented by New Tech as we get ready for the restart here at Mosport. Our new leader is the 22 Chevy Corvette of Mike Culver.
Mike got that lead. Here we are with the Porsche, as the Porsche had to come back into pits for a stop-and-go penalty for having too many men over the wall servicing the car.
So the green flag, Mike Culver, leading his way through, boy, a whole flock of traffic out here on the racetrack. They've got a Viper second, and the Porsche is now third.
We go on board with the Porsche as we have to pick our way through traffic now after that stop-and-go penalty. But if anyone can do it, Richard Spinard at this track can. Now he has a little open space. But remember, our leader Corvette's way up front. Look at this traffic.
Boy, Mike Culver and the first racing Corvette dealing with the heavy traffic in turn number 5, trying to get by the Lacey and Maloney SVT Ford Mustang.
Yeah, fortunately, most of these guys know the leaders are stuck back there in traffic. They watch the rearview mirrors, even though they have their own race to perform here. We're inside the Porsche chasing the Viper. Look on the right side of the racetrack. 4 cars abreast, and there's not enough room for that. We use the dirt. Viper up on the inside. Porsche probably going to go with him. There's where the draft is, as long as the Lexus sees us coming. Talk about rush hour traffic. Oh, getting touched.
Not nearly enough room for all 4 cars, so they try to occupy the same space. That's a violation of some kind of law of physics, isn't it?
This is wonderful, Jim. When you're out there in the car like we are right now, and you're hoping the guy sees you, you know you got to get that spot. You can't let those guys run away from you. You have to take everything you can. And here we are. We're going to have the proper line for the braking zone coming over the front straightaway.
As we watch a car running, dragging a bumper, the 27 machine of Fenton and Beatty, currently second in C2K.
Boy, he's slamming that around. He's going to slap somebody pretty good with this thing. They may call him in for that.
We'll have to wait and see. Up front, we catch up with the race leader who's already coming out the back straightaway. Mike Culver in the first racing, that silver 22 Corvette, holding on about a 5-second advantage over Joe Vardy in the Viper and Richard Spinard's Porsche now.
Yeah, we see second and third stuck in traffic back here as the Corvette. The silver Corvette has some free sailing. The Porsche trying to pick his way. Actually, he's letting Vardy part the seas, if you don't mind. Oh, side by side, he tries to pass on the outside on the NSX. That's a Grand Sports car.
Manages to make that happen and get by cleanly.
Well, what happens when you have so many left-hand, right-hand turns, there's really not a proper line. You've got to pick where you can. Now, the Viper pinches off the exit. The Porsche uses all the radius. We have a huge run here. Watch this. We got a draft. We got to run. We're going to look on the inside of turn 1, and that is a scary place to make a pass. 3 cars abreast. But when you're on the inside, there's that bumper that came off that Honda, I bet you.
The 27 bumper is laying right in the middle of the racetrack as the leaders go by. Everybody manages to dodge it so far, and we have a Mustang which collects it.
Yeah, that was what you're afraid of, is somebody's going to hit that thing. Here's how it started. Way back in all this traffic, we get tapped from behind, off in the dirt, but that front drive car, once again, just keeps on digging, throws it off a half lap later. Yeah, we'll see him around next corner here in a minute, and that's what's so scary about those parts. It's flopping around over at about 90 miles an hour now. Fortunately, it's semi-plastic, so it's not a big hit. But something you wouldn't want to run into on the interstate.
And we've got a car which is stopped on the front straightaway here. The number 90 Lexus has stopped. Well, briefly, it's now back on the race circuit.
He has a problem. He's contacted something, Jim. You know, maybe it's contagious. Everybody just can't keep rear bumpers on in this series, especially here today.
Back up with the race leader, Mike Culver, trying to defend himself from a charging Richard Spinard Porsche right up on the back bumper of the Chevy Corvette down the front straight.
Gets a good run coming onto the front straightaway. This is where he passed the Viper last lap. Some places the Porsche's better, some places the Corvette's better.
It's lap 50. Time to take a look at our Derringer leaderboard now. In Super Grand Sport, the 22 Chevy Corvette of Mike Culver and Mike Fitzgerald. They're followed by the Porsche, the 19 car of Dumoulin and Spinard, and the Viper, the 50 car of Amick and Vardy.
It's a Mustang Cobra R of Brown and Kohler leading in Grand Sports. Cordaid Negri in the Porsche, they're second, and Potter Shirk, they're third in an NSX.
In Sport Touring, out front, the Lexus 9 car of Borchardt and Goldsboro. Karavich and Potter in the Acura, and third, the number 70 Z3 of Sheffer, Bonneau, and Trask.
And in C2K, it's Pete Hosmer, Brian Johnson lead in a Honda Civic. B.D. Fenton, they're second without the bumper, and Cullen Schrainen are third in the Hyundai Tiburon.
We'll be right back with more Motorola Cup action in a moment.
Are headed to the pits. But don't worry, they're an experienced team, and their Hoosier Performance tires put them ahead of schedule. Look at them go! The Cook family trusts Hoosier Performance tires for safety, performance, and reliability. They've done it again! Winning families ride on Hoosier Performance tires. Tires designed for champions.
Sunday night, it's Champions, featuring one of the greatest drivers of all time, David Pearson. His determination brought him glory.
He was the one I had to beat everywhere I went.
His humor and wit brought him fame. Get an inside look at this NASCAR legend on Champions at 8 Eastern, 9 Pacific.
Welcome back to Mosport. We're right along with the second place Richard Spinard Porsche following the leading Corvette of Mike Culver. Spinard seems to be rather comfortable for now in second.
Meanwhile, back in the pits, the Joe Aquilini team works on that Corvette for the third time, trying to get fuel in it. They've had problems. Early leader here.
Right now, the race leader's coming up on some of the C2K machinery, and it looks as though it's going to be a tough way to get by. Tight piece of the course.
Yeah, there's our leader working traffic. We're on board the Porsche. He's content to be second behind this Corvette. Is let the Corvette park the waters, if you will. With these slower cars, there's a little bit of a little artistic racing room on the outside by the Hyundai. Gets back on and makes a pass at the same time.
And says, thank you very much for the little outside ride down the front straight.
Actually loses the spot. Back on board with the Porsche again. Watch the steering wheel in this car. A light brake. We're going over a crest of a hill. The Corvette's coming back out. They got fuel in it finally.
Well, that's certainly good to see. As we've watched a little further down the racetrack, the Zero Hyundai of Quebecois journalist Gabriel Jelena falls off the track. Doesn't look as though he's done any damage, though.
Yeah, what happens, he moves over to let that Corvette come out of the pits. Gives him a little too much room. That marbles we were talking about. Boy, it's easy to turn a car over going sideways in the dirt like that. We're just hoping he doesn't turn it over. Look at that dust. And that gets everywhere.
Well, that's quite a challenge to find his way back on the racetrack, but does so and doesn't collect anybody. The Sport Touring class leader, Terry Bornschiller and Chuck Goldsboro, the Lexus, took the lead back in lap number 3 and have had a pretty seamless day so far.
Yeah, Terry Bornschiller, that's his first run in this automatic transmission car. Normally he's in a big old stick-shift Mustang. Right behind Terry is the third-place Viper. That's in Super Grand Sport.
Somebody for him to watch out in the mirrors for. On board now we go on the 17 Ford Mustang, the Grand Sport class leader with David Brown and John Kohler.
Yeah, he's led from the start in this car, working traffic beautifully. This is actually a lap Firebird we're behind right now. Not going to fight the car for the class whatsoever. These Zippo cars always run well here.
They really do a good job with them as we watch them head down into turn number 4 where the track kind of disappears. We watch the race leader goes by to the right side and he waves by the second-place Porsche too.
Yeah, that's a mark of a good driver. He's leading his class, but he doesn't want to interfere with the Super Grand Sports class. Gets both guys by as we have another dust cloud.
More dust clouds down in turn number 2. The 70 BMW. That's the Sheffer, Bonneau, and Trask cars come to a stop. It was running 3rd in Sport Touring.
Oh, baby, look at the dirt in this car. Let's see if we can get a replay here. We're riding on board with this car from Team Spartanburg. Gets out into marbles once again. Gets a right rear off, corrects it back to the left. We lock it up, and we get in the dirt, and hopefully don't roll it over, and we don't. Get into the tire wall. Get the wiper zone to get some of the dust out of the car.
Not a bad plan, and we've got another car that needs some help. The 27 Honda's come to a stop. That's a Fenton Beatty car, and the driver is out, but not looking very happy about it.
Yeah, this will bring out a full course caution because he is on the side of the racetrack. They can't leave the car there. There's our double yellow flags signifying that there's going to be a safety car coming out.
So the pace car heads out onto the racetrack, and a lot of the race leaders come in and take advantage of this pit stop opportunity, including the 22 Chevy Corvette.
Yeah, that's our race leader right there, the Mike Culver, Mike Fitzgerald car being serviced. We're on board with the Porsche now. Remember, they had a great pit stop the first time. They're being assessed a penalty. See the stopwatch? The guy's looking at his watch up there. He's holding his car in the pits again. Some kind of infraction. Too many men over the wall last time. Here goes your leader out of the pits.
The 22 Corvette now with Mike Fitzgerald behind the wheel, and the Porsche's released.
He's going to push me backwards. You're not allowed to back up. You cannot put the car in reverse. Your crew can push you backwards. There's not enough room to get this car out. This is going to be a long, long pit stop for what was our former leader. Lots of other cars also pitting and filling up with that good Sunoco Ultra 94. Because these Motorola Cup racers can't take a chance of getting a tank full of bad gas.
The pinging you hear when you put bad gas in your car is actually pre-ignition, and the piston's coming up, and the combustion mixture is firing prematurely, but the connecting rod's still trying to come up, and the piston's being forced down. Something's got to give. The cylinder wall goes out and back again. It makes a ping, and that noise, interpreted by a simple thermocouple, a knock sensor, sent back to the engine computer, hears the noise and says, oh, and it pulls spark out of the motor. When it pulls the spark out of the motor, now it can handle the pre-combustion that's going on with the poorer gasoline. It'll run, but it won't run as good. So if you want the best power out of your engine, you put in the best gasoline you can get.
Sunoco Ethanol Enhanced Ultra 94, the fuel that powers the Motorola Cup. We'll be back with more of the action from Mosport right after this.
Rugged, tough. The Rhino is built to take grueling off-road abuse, and so can Rhino Lining's Tough Stuff truck bed liners. If you work your truck hard, then you need a Rhino Lining sprayed-on polyurethane lining to protect your truck bed. Rhino Linings is the world's leading sprayed-on liner company. Their Tough Stuff liner, sprayed on up to a 1/4 inch thick, is virtually indestructible polyurethane. And unlike plastic liners, which don't stop truck bed rust, a Rhino Lining protects your investment permanently. A Rhino Lining only takes a few hours to apply, and it's warranted by your dealer for as long as you own your truck. So if you want to protect your truck's value, get a Rhino Liner. Call or log on right now. We'll send you a free brochure, a sample of Tough Stuff, and give you the name of the Rhino Lining's dealer nearest you. Call now.
Brown, Kansas, Dobie Gillis Fish Tank.
The party's changed to 7?
In my car, my dog is no longer fat and slow. He is a god. A fast, beautiful, drooling god.
Race fans, we've got tons of action today. Lots of Motorola Cup race cars, 4 different classes, and a huge pile of money for the winners. Still, there's a couple of things you should keep in mind. First off, make sure whoever's preparing your food doesn't overcook it. Just type them a friendly reminder without saying a word on Motorola's Talk About T900 two-way with texting. Tell them you'd like yours medium rare. Next, if the car you're pulling for gets knocked out, you can always change your colors and tell everyone about it with Motorola's new V-Series phone with 16 different peel-off covers. Finally, if you're in the back row and your buddies are up front, keep up to speed on the race with a pair of Motorola Talk About two-way radios. The new model even has an altimeter so you can find out just how high those cheap seats really are. Now back to the race, the Motorola Cup North American Street Stock Championship. Talk without talking. See it all at Motorola.com.
The green flag is out, and we're back to racing here at Mosport. And you've got to look well back in the field to find our race leader, Mike Fitzgerald, the silver Corvette. Now, he's held on to that lead in spite of the pit stop. Viper runs in second. The Porsche is dropped to third place.
We'll see if Vardy can make a run on that Corvette. You know, he's good about working traffic. Once you have full course caution, the leaders do get stuck way back in the pack. Some guys don't pit for fuel. You can see the Corvette. There's Vardy right behind.
Spinard is well back in third place. Got a bunch of traffic to deal with.
Yeah, on board the Porsche here in the high-speed left-hand section, working slower traffic, actually a smaller class car. We'll pop in on the right here. Jump up in the braking zone, slam it back into third gear. Vardy right there in second place. Gonna try to use the power of that V10. He pops out. It's a right-hand corner. Can he make an outside pass? It seems he does. Both of them have to actually upshift the gear going up the hill. And now, with traffic in both lanes, who makes the wiser move? The Corvette gets hung behind the Acura of the Nonamaker brothers, and Vardy goes by the outside using slower traffic as a pick.
Mike Fitzgerald gets hung up, and we're riding along with Richard Spinard right behind the second place Chevy Corvette, now onto the front straightaway.
Yeah, lap traffic gave the Porsche a chance to drop up there. He's behind the vet. He's looking right. He's looking left. But again, the slower cars prevent the passing and dictate where the leaders have to go on the racetrack. Here we see Vardy leading the Corvette. Porsche looking inside, has to tuck back in. This is a long left-hander downhill, back inside the car of the Porsche. Watch him steer this car. A lot of work here, but the minute he downshifts, he's back up on the steering wheel, unlike John Heinrice, who can hang on to that shifter. A little glare on the windshield, a counter steer through the hairpin turn down that long straightaway. Vardy leads. The Corvette trying to hold off the Porsche. Jim, here comes the Porsche on the outside.
Richard Spinard gets up beside the number 22 Chevy Corvette and puts it down to third place. The number 19 car is now second. Richard Spinard in the Porsche.
Yeah, we obviously see some horsepower in that Porsche to be able to pass coming up that hill.
Now we've got a car in the gravel trap. That's the 59 Mustang, a Passion and Goddard. And it doesn't look like it's going anyplace soon. Now we catch up. It's a little bit of off-roading, gets it sideways. The 43 blue Nonamaker and paint Corvette slides off the racetrack.
He locks the brakes up, spins it around, does a 720. Now inside the Mustang, you're going to see the Corvette come up on the right. He's dropped the right rear wheel off in the dirt. He slams into the Mustang. He locks it up to keep from going into that tire wall. And it locked up, lets it turn all the way around, and keeps it out of the wall. The Mustang, fortunately, stays on the racetrack.
And due to the Mustang down to the far end of the racetrack, we've got a full course yellow as the safety crews are on the scene.
Our race leader in the pits, that's number 50, Joe Vardy, comes in to get the Viper serviced from the Amick Racing team. Vardy calling the shots on the strategy here for this team. This will put the Porsche up front. Corvette second of Culver. You know, these Motorola Cup cars take more abuse in one 3-hour race than your family car takes in a lifetime. Which is why these drivers don't use just any motor oil. They rely on Castrol Syntec.
I think one of the things with Syntec is there's no breakdown in the formula of the oils, no matter what the operating conditions are. And here people see them really stressed, as you say, with these high revving engines, although they're basically street engines, but they're tuned to the ultimate, and they're revved to the absolute maximum during the racing process here. But the oil itself will not break down. It's a tremendous proving ground for product, extremely high visibility. There probably isn't a sport in the world that gives more real quick awareness of a product to the audience than does motor racing, because it's so dramatic and it has so many wonderful things happening with it all the time.
Castrol, track proven performance. We'll be right back with more racing action in a moment.
ATV gives you more ride for your money. Get a worn winch or camouflage kit for $69 when you buy a new Arctic Cat ATV.
Got you this time.
2 out of 3.
Okay, you ready? Sure. Okay. 1, 2, 3, send. Oh. Rock, beat, scissors. Back seat. Watch your head.
Ah, funny. Ow. Come on, move over.
Dad, I missed the bus.
Really?
The 911 Carrera. What only a Porsche brings to driving.
Thanks, Dad.
Dad.
Tomorrow night, road test the C5 Le Mans Corvette. Then it's Speedvision News with the year-end review. Plus, meet one of the greatest drivers of all time, David Pearson. That's Motorvision at 7 Eastern, Speedvision News Race Week at 7:30, and Champions at 8.
The car's headed for the green flag on the restart here at Mosport. The new race leader, Richard Spinard, and the new tech Porsche, which has regained first place when the Viper made a pit stop just a moment ago. Second place, Mike Fitzgerald in that silver 22 Corvette. Behind the Lacey and Maloney Mustang, which isn't technically a lap down. There he gets to the inside into turn 2.
Corvette right behind. We're going to go on board with the Porsche now. He's clear sailing up front. There's nobody out there. This is going to be a great restart, and maybe can get some distance on that Corvette, get him out of the rearview mirrors. Meantime, we see Vardy back here in 4th place, working traffic. He's a master at this, trying to work a Grand Sports car. He's going to make an outside pass here, coming to Moss Corner, drops 2 wheels off in the dirt. Vardy can do it. Dirt doesn't bother him. He drives on the outside. Camaro lets him go.
Certainly doesn't seem to slow him down. The blue car, the number 43 paint Corvette with some smoke from behind it.
Yeah, it looks like the rear may have been touched a little bit. Could have a tire rubbing, which is a whole lot better than an engine going down.
Boy, there doesn't look real healthy. The race leader, Richard Spinard. Mike Fitzgerald's Corvette is right on his rear bumper coming up the straightaway again, though.
Yeah, it's amazing how now the vet wants to pull out and pass the Porsche. We've seen that Porsche pass all day long going up this hill.
Richard Spinard decides to say, okay, if you want to pass me, I'm going to make you do it the hard way on the outside. Doesn't get it done.
Yeah, he tucks back in for second place.
The Nunemaker Paint Planet Earth Corvette stops in the pits, and the smoke looks like it's getting worse there.
Yeah, the Flying Melinda team. Let's see what happens to under the hood. Got their fire extinguishers out.
Boy, not a good sign at all.
Well, a lot of times you get oil on the headers. You get a leaker. Here comes our 3rd place car.
The Viper of Joe Vardy has moved up to 3rd spot as a result.
So the Porsche still leads it. The silver Corvette second. Here's Vardy. Can't quite see second place.
Got a little bit of racing to do, but Joe Vardy knows his way around here. And boy, that 43 Corvette's up in, almost up in flames.
Yeah, as we say down south, it's getting worser.
Boy, it sure caught the safety crew's attention in a big hurry, that's for sure.
Well, the problem is a lot of times that's fire extinguisher dust. It does a good job. It smothers the fire, but boy, it makes a big dust cloud in the pits.
The C2K class battle, the 00 Honda of Schmidt and Cunningham leading the number 8 Hyundai, the Tiburon with Gord Cullen and Didier Schrennen doing their best just to try to keep up with the Honda out front. Now, this battle's actually been going on through the entire 2000 season. The Honda and the Hyundai nose to tail, and so far it's the Honda today here at Mosport.
Going on board with our sport touring leader, that's the 49 BMW of Howie Liebengood and Andy Lawley. They are a full lap up on this number 24 Acura. That's in second place. That's the Karavich Potter car, a lap down. Well, it's great to have this cushion as the laps wind down here at Mosport.
On board now with the leader in Grand Sport. This is the Brown and Kohler Ford Mustang. Second place behind them. It's kind of nice to see a Chevy Camaro doing well today. That's Vincent and Hebert on their home track here at Mosport.
That's that beautiful yellow Camaro. Most guys in Grand Sports run the Firebird instead. This car is working real well here. Going back up front, here's our Porsche leading. Now, the 37 Corvette, that's a lap down. That's John Heinrichs. He's trying to get around this Porsche. If there's a full course yellow and he's in front of the Porsche, he can come all the way around and get back behind and get back on the lead lap. So he's going to fight hard to do that right now. On board with the Porsche. Down that long left-hand high-speed corner. He knows the Corvette's back there. He knows he should not fight him for his position. That's right. Let John go. Oh, John goes. But he uses a Firebird to slow down and stay on the racetrack. Pretty rare mistake by Heinrichs here.
John Heinrichs pushing for everything he's worth and maybe a little more than the car can handle, trying to get around the race leader.
Not sure it hadn't hurt that Corvette. Looks like it might be dog tracking a little bit. Now we'll see John pop inside on the braking zone. He tries to get the car shut down. Can't quite do it. Firebird has no idea he's coming. This may not have hurt either one of those cars.
It looks as though both cars back out on the racetrack as the Chevy Corvette follows the Porsche up the back straight. And now comes in along pit lane. The 37 Corvette. John Heinrichs undoes the door and jumps out before it's even stopped.
Yeah, something's wrong inside the car. John is trying to get out. You don't see a guy getting out on his own. Usually the co-driver's there to help him do that. John looks very groggy in the car. We've had a fuel problem with this car. We've had a problem fueling it all day long. We're back on board with the leader. Boy, big bump at the exit of that corner.
Boy, the crew has to help John Heinrichs out of that race car. That doesn't look good at all.
Jim, I bet $1 he was overcome by fumes in that car. They've had trouble getting gas in it all day. Because you saw him hit that Firebird a while ago, a rare mistake by John Heinrichs. Here's our leader, the Porsche, by himself now, not worried about being unlapped.
Richard Spinard leads the way in the new Tech Porsche. We'll be back with the finish in a moment.
Mom, Dad, hey, it's me, Steve. This year, to avoid any confusion, I'm putting my wish list on video. All I want is a computer. Now, hold on, Dad. It's just $849 for all of this. A Dell computer, speakers, monitor, 1 year of MSN internet access, Intel Pentium 3 processor, which is awesome. And Dell will even throw in your choice of a free printer, free scanner, or free webcam. Because, Dad, I know how much you'll love free stuff. Mom, Dell's won more awards for service and support than any other computer company. And you don't even have to leave the house. All you have to do is call or go online. Anywho, happy holidays. Your son, Steven.
Get what you want this holiday. A great computer with an Intel Pentium 3 processor and a free gift. All for $849. Call or go to DellForMe.com now.
Now hear this. Need to know what to watch on Speedvision? Log on to Speedvision.com. Find the latest daily, weekly, and monthly program schedules from the world of speed. Get the inside line anytime. Log on to Speedvision.com.
Free your mind.
Now there's a sedan that makes all other sedans feel inadequate. With an ultra-spacious cabin, sophisticated engineering, a powerful engine, and bold new European design. Introducing the all-new 2001 Elantra from Hyundai. It sets the standard for what a great-looking sedan should be. The all-new Elantra. Driving is believing.
We're back here at Mosport, a new development in Grand Sport. The leader, the brown Kohler Mustang, sounds terrible and slows down a little bit.
Okay, let's go on board. See if we can't hear Yeah, this car is definitely not crisp on all 8 cylinders. He's our leader, but I would be worried about it.
Well, I don't think the checkered flag can come soon enough for that team, as they've no doubt got their fingers crossed.
Back up front, we have our Porsche with a pretty comfortable lead now over Mike Fitzgerald.
About 6 seconds the difference between first and second now.
Yeah, we see the Porsche, and now way back here, that's what 6 seconds look like. It looks like a week when you're in that silver car, especially when there's traffic in between the two.
Now we catch up with the Sport Touring class leader, the leaving good Lally BMW, a 1-lap advantage over the number 24 Acura.
Ever since they painted this car yellow, it's been out front. Actually, Leaving Good and Lally both actually came from open wheel backgrounds, doing super jobs with fenders on their cars this season in that BMW. This is a rear drive car compared to the front drive Acuras.
Speaking of front drive in C2K, the battle between the 00 Schmidt and Cunningham Honda continues, with the number 8 Hyundai Tiburon driving up the outside into corner number 8 again. This is a tough place to make a pass, and the 00 Honda stays in front.
And like we've been pushing all year, it's Honda and Hyundai. These cars almost identically prepared. Big smoke on the front straightaway. Did our leader in that Mustang finally give up the ghost? Yeah, going on board with the car. You can definitely hear that V8 trying to come apart.
Less than 2 laps to go now. Mike Fitzgerald in the Chevy Corvette. Looks like he just might be closing on the race leader. The number 19 Porsche goes by. The leader, Richard Spinard. The number 22 First Racing Chevy Corvette looks to be picking up the pace just a little bit. Now, they don't have to worry about the 3rd place Viper. He's well back. But on the other hand, could Richard Spinard, Terry, have slowed down enough with the end of the race around the corner to maybe let this Corvette have a chance?
He may have accidentally slowed down too much. A lot of times when you're backing down, trying to get better gas mileage, better tire mileage, or whatever, you lose some of your concentration. And here we see the Corvette actually gaining on him at the end. Fitzgerald has nothing to lose but to run 110%. The Porsche may back down too much because lap traffic can also play into this. Here's a guy, however, John Kohler. He ain't too comfortable. He's our Grand Sport leader. This car's still making noise. He's losing horsepower. He's stuck behind this Lexus, even though Lexus is a lap down. Oh, man, listen to the inside of this car. He has just everything crossed, all his fingers crossed in this Mustang.
Richard Spinard in the race-leading Porsche comes down to the far end of the circuit, and that Chevy Corvette gets closer every time they go by, and he's got less than half a lap to catch him up now. Less than a car length separates the two at the exit of turn 5 now toward the top side of the circuit and the start-finish line. Richard Spinard still leads.
But did you know he's nervous? Fitzgerald's in that car. He's trying to pedal hard. We've seen that Porsche actually pass cars up this hill, but the silver Corvette looks like he's gaining on the Porsche on this last lap. He's in the draft. He's in the catbird seats, maybe a little bit too far back, especially as we get to lap traffic. We got to go to the inside of the lap traffic here. That's a shortcut, though. He gains up on the Porsche. We have 2 turns left. Hard right-hander in 4th gear. Stab it down to 3rd gear. The traffic's going to catch that Porsche. Here comes the Corvette. We have a chance to dive to the right in this last turn, 2nd gear corner, trying to put the power down.
Richard Spinard comes across the start-finish line, and the checkered flag belongs to the number 19 car. Spinard and Dumoulin win in the Porsche.
What a great run to the finish. Fitzgerald gave it all he could in that Corvette, but the Porsche held him off. Lap traffic helped. Now, we saw a lot of smoke from this Grand Sports Mustang. He was right ahead of the overall leaders. He's got to run a whole nother lap to win Grand Sports. I'm not sure there's enough motor oil left in this car to run a whole nother lap.
Enough motor oil? How fast can you drive a car with your breath held and your fingers crossed? We're not sure, but we're going to find out. The Acura goes by and accelerates faster up the hill than the Ford Mustang does.
On board with the winning Sport Touring BMW, leaving good Lally. Now we look back at the C2K winners, Schmidt, Cunningham. They work their way toward the stripe. Where's our Grand Sports car? We're on board. 2 corners left. Can that Mustang make the front straightaway for the Grand Sports win on a lot less than 8 cylinders?
Gets a round of applause from the crowd as well as the crew. The Zippo 17 Ford Mustang wins its class. We'll be right back at Mosport as we talk to our Motorola StarTac stars of the race.
Kilago, alone on Kilago, how empty it seems with only
Introducing the 3.2 CL from Acura.
Dad, I gotta make a pit stop fast.
Looks like the Cooks are headed to the pits. But don't worry, they're an experienced team, and their Hoosier Performance tires put them ahead of schedule. Look at them go! The Cook family trusts Hoosier Performance tires, safety, performance, and reliability. They've done it again! Winning families ride on Hoosier Performance tires. Tires designed for champions.
AJ Kidd here. Boy, have I got a great ski tip for you. Watch FIS competition on OLN 8 p.m. Thursdays, or Saturdays and Sundays at 7 and 10. And you could win a trip to, well, I can't give away the answer. Just watch FIS on OLN and look for this symbol with the ski destination the grand prize winner will fly to. Then enter at away.com, or send us the answer on a postcard with your name, address, and phone number.
Contest ends December 31st. Trip provided by away.com.
Back at Mosport Park, our overall winners and Motorola StarTac stars of the race, Jean-Francois Dumoulin and Richard Spinard.
Well, you know, it's a long race, especially we pitted early. I had to do 2 hours with the same tires, and we needed to stretch the fuel, so I was conscious of doing all that, and there was no point trying to leave with number 22 and then at the end having to fight a Viper or something like this, because I always fear that Vardy will come back at the end of the race. So I paced myself, and it worked out. And at the end, it's a good thing that we did, because we were on reserve for a long time. And I was very anxious for that checkered flag to come down.
My heart was beating so bad there at the end, watching that car.
No, it was the worst. I had to go to fifth gear to keep the car going, you know. We'd have blown up if I wouldn't have used fifth. It was tough going over 2 and 5th, I'll tell you that.
John Kohler and David Brown, very happy Grand Sport winners. And now our New Tech final results in Super Grand Sport overall. Dumoulin and Spinard in the Porsche. Colburn, Fitzgerald in their Corvette, and the Viper of Vardy and Amick third.
And in Grand Sports, it's smoking David Brown and John Kohler in the Mustang Cobra R. Second place, it's the Camaro, the beautiful yellow car, the Vincent A. Bear car, and the Shanneman Firebird, the father-son team, are third.
In Sport Touring, Howie Liebengood and Andy Lally in the BMW were first, followed by Karavich and Potter in their Acura, and Schaffer, Bonneau, and Trask in the Z3.
The 00 Honda Civic of Schmidt and Cunningham win C2K over the Hyundai Tiburon of Cullen and Schraderden. Third, another Honda Civic, Pete Halsmer, Brian Johnson. And the New Tech Top Gun Award for the fastest race lap. John Heinrichs one-handed the 37 Corvette to the fastest race lap. 1 minute, 30 seconds, .147, which equals 98 miles an hour.
And our Derringer Forward Motion winner, the car that picked up the most places in class during the race, belongs to the car number 89, Vincent and Hébert, the Grand Sport Chevy Camaro, picking up 13 positions. For Terry Airwood, this is Jim Martin saying goodbye from Mosport Park. The Motorola Cup has been brought to you by Motorola. Web without wires. By Hoosier, tires designed for champions. And by New Tech Group International. To find out more about Motorola Cup racing, check out MotorolaCup.com.
Good evening, and welcome to Speedvision's Lost Drive-In. For your viewing pleasure, the next show is about to start. The snack bar will remain open during the show. Just look what's headed your way, showing now through Tuesday.